Steve, let's talk Whitworth swimming. It's been a couple of weekends, but the Pirates came home from Boise, Idaho with a pair of Northwest Conference championships, both of them in pretty dominating fashion. There's no perfect meet for any team, but talk about how you felt that meet went for the Pirates.
It was a great meet. Kids put in terrific effort. There were a lot of lifetime best times. Everybody stepped up. It was really fun to watch. I would say highlights are relays. Our relays were fantastic. I think the men broke 3 team records in the sprint medleys and sprint free, like the 2 medley, 4 medley, and 2 free relay were new team records for us and conference records. And women's side 2 medley relay. So that was really, really fun. In the breaststroke events, I thought we were really good. Megan Bonakowski and Molly Kana both made their B cuts in the 2 breasts, and so we're excited about that. I think that they'll probably get an invite to NCAAs. We're very hopeful. Nathaniel in the 50 freestyle, excellent, 20.02. He was within 200ths of our team record, and he's right on the cusp of qualifying for NCAAs, so we're going to wait and see how that goes. But yeah, I feel very good about the performance the team put in. I feel like they really came together as a group. There was a lot of energy. They executed really well. It was a good meet.
This past weekend, you had a chance to go over to Puget Sound and get in a few extra swims, a last chance meet. What's the purpose of that, and what did we accomplish?
Sure. Well, there's a couple purposes to it. One, it's always nice to get another crack and see, can people improve marks? Like, we're chasing our national meet, trying to get people qualified, and when you have kids that are right on the cusp like we have, even a tenth of a second can make a difference. And so that typically is why you do these last chance meets. And we're in that position. For example, Nathaniel is 17th in the 50 free right now. Last year they took 16. Now that cut line floats, right? Like one year it might be 15 or 16, the next year it might be 18 or 19. As a coach and as a team, we just don't know, so we've got to put up the fastest mark we possibly can. So, took about a dozen kids and we went over there and we chased it and went after it again, and they did remarkably well. Like, everybody was basically on what they did at their conference championship. There were a couple swims that were lifetime bests. Megan in her 100 breaststroke, that 105 flat, that's the fastest she's ever been. Jake Satchin improved his 500 free by about a second. We were hoping that the relays would drop a little bit of time and improve their chance of getting into NCAAs. Didn't quite do it. They were a little bit slower than they were the weekend before, and it's hard to repeat because when you're at a last chance meet, it's kind of like a glorified time trial. Usually the pool's empty, you don't have a lot of spectators. You're kind of swimming the clock, where when you're in a championship meet, there's all your teammates yelling and screaming, the stands are full, so it's a different environment. But credit to the kids, they did a great job.
You talked about the 3 who have good chance of going to NCAA. We had other NCAA provisional B times. Talk about a little more about what that means. Getting a B time doesn't automatically mean you're going.
Right, exactly. Like, for example, Henry Brewster, at this last chance meet, he popped a B cut in the 200 butterfly. But it's not a strong enough B cut to probably get him into the meet, right? Like, if you get a B cut, it says you're being considered for the national meet, but there's a cap on the meet itself, and they will only take so many swimmers. So normally they seed all the relays first, like 16 relays, and then they go through event by event, one person at a time, until that cap is filled. And it will float a little bit up or down depending on how many relay-only swimmers are entered into the meet. Because if you have a lot of relay-only swimmers, you're not going to have as many individual cuts that get into the meet because they seed that first. And so, it's a little bit of a waiting game.
When do we find out about who's going and what the final tally is?
A week from today. We turned in our national entries this morning. The deadline for entries is on Wednesday, and then sometime Saturday or Sunday, we'll get an unofficial psych sheet, and then we'll know. So I would just imagine by Monday of next week, we'll know exactly who's going. In our B cuts were, men and women's, or men's 200 medley relay, 200 free relay, Henry's 200 butterfly, Megan and Molly's 200 breaststrokes, Nathaniel's 50 free. So we have a half a dozen cuts that we're waiting on, and I feel pretty good about 3 of them. The other 3 are pretty bubbly.